Maxey from outside. Sixers lead, courtesy of Tyrese Maxey.
Hit deep to left field. Going back is Locastro. It is gone!
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Beef Up Front podcast here on Pick Swap Media. Your host, as always, Ryan Coyle. Continuing on today with our NBA draft player profile series. Yesterday did Reed Sheppard. Today we're staying with Kentucky, and we're going with guard Rob DIllingham, another freshman out of Kentucky. This past year, another guy, highly regarded recruit, was in the ESPN top, I believe, number 15 overall recruit in the ESPN class this year. And he had a really good year at Kentucky in his freshman season. I think alongside Reed Sheppard and Antonio Reeves, I think those were the three best players for this Kentucky team this year. When you look at Rob Dillingham's numbers, played 32 games, only averaged 23.3 minutes per game. So basically he was just playing half the game and he still was able to put up these numbers. 47.5% from the field, 44.4% from deep. Just like Reed Sheppard, shot 52% from deep, 44% from deep is really impressive as well. 79.6% from the free throw line, so really good free throw shooter as well. 2.9 rebounds, 3.9 assists, showed some playmaking ability. 0.1 blocks at 6'2", 159 pounds. He's not adding much action there, but 2 turnovers per game and 15.2 points per game. I think he had a really good year, and kind of just from watching him live, he's a guy that you just notice him all the time. He's just a player that really pops off the screen into you. And then when you go back and watch his film as well, you kind of got, I'm not going to say lost, but I guess a little under the radar more than I thought, where how good of a scorer he really is. He can really light it up and can do it from just about everywhere. So this episode is going to be about Rob DIllingham, Kentucky guard, 6'2", 159 pounds. He's my third ranked guard in this class, but I have no problem with taking Kentucky guards. You look at across the league, Jamal Murray, Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk. The list goes on and on just for the John Wall in the past. The list just goes on and on for kind of the elite high profile guards that have came out of Kentucky under Coach Calipari. So Dillingham's a player I'm really excited about. I think the offensive talent is undeniable. The defense, sure, that's something that we're going to have to work on and we're going to talk about throughout this episode. But I really like this kid's game, and I think he's got a potential to be a real high-level scorer in that like 16 to 19 point per game range. I could definitely see him settle in there, having a really good NBA career. So we'll get into Dillingham here. I guess I'll start it off with the size kind of concerns me a little bit for a guy who's known mainly as a scorer. At 6'2", he's going to be the undersized guard in his lineup. You're not going to be able to have him guarding twos that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", and especially at the 159 pounds. He's going to have to put on some weight, but still another guy where he was just a freshman this year, just 19 years old. He's still got some time to kind of grow into that body, and I think, fully dedicating himself now to basketball, he's going to be able to put on weight. We've seen guys do that across their time in the NBA. It's just whether, how dedicated you kind of are to doing that. Everyone is able to put on that muscle. Just, are you going to do it? Watching him, super fun and exciting player. I think maybe he might kind of maybe be a little bit above where he actually should be in terms of a prospect, just because of how fun he is to watch. You could just be watching him and kind of fall in love with the way that he plays. I get shades of Tyrese Maxey watching Dillingham play. Sure, the Kentucky uniform helps, the hair helps, but Maxey, I think, is probably at the end of the day going to wind up being a better player than him. But Dillingham has that ability to just go off in spurts like Tyrese Maxey does, where he can have 2 points with 10 minutes to go in the first half, and you look up at the end of the half and he's got 15 points. Like, he can flip the switch and he can go on, a 6-0, 8-0 scoring run by himself at any point in the game. And I think that's what really makes him a special prospect, and why I think he's going to pan out and be a really good scorer in the NBA. He's got that just ability to accelerate by defenders. He can pull up from deep. He really doesn't have a place on the court that he isn't a threat to score from as soon as he crosses half court. The ability to kind of keep those defenders honest at all times makes him a valuable asset, I think, from day one in the NBA. Watching his film earlier, Kentucky was probably a team that I watched, top 5 teams that I watched this year just because of the amount that they're on TV. And every time you watch them, you're like, oh wow, there goes Dillingham again. But just watching individual clips of him just going to work, he doesn't score from the same spot every single time. Like he's not just going to be a catch and shoot guy. He's not just pulling up for three. He's getting to the rim. He's doing floaters. He's scoring in the mid range. He's scoring off the bounce from three, catch and shoot from three. He can score at just about every spot. And I think that is just an incredible asset to have and a welcome thing, because even if he's not going to be a valuable defender from day one, you bring him off the bench, you play him, about 12 minutes in the first half, 12 minutes in the second half, he's going to have the juice, the energy, and the legs, and he's going to be able to go out there and fill it up, I think, from day one in the NBA. So his skill set where, all right, why am I putting you on the court tomorrow in an NBA playoff game? Coach, I can go out there and I can get you 15 to 20 points, I think, on any given night, and I won't be surprised by that. Maybe he's more of like a Bones Highland type than a Tyrese Maxey, where Maxey is, emerging into a legit superstar. Maybe he's more of a Bones Highland, where when Bones Highland's actually getting in the rotations, it seems like he's been kind of blacklisted at times from the NBA. But where when Bones was getting hot and having those stretches where with the Clippers, with the Nuggets, you really saw a real good playmaker and scorer there. I think Dillingham could do that. Is he going to be a perennial all-star type guy? I don't know. I don't think so. But I do think he's going to be a really valuable scorer, where even if it's like a Lou Williams type of career off the bench, where racking up multiple six mans of the year, you're going out there and you're a certified bucket getter each and every time you step on the floor, that's going to be a welcome asset, especially in this draft that's really lacking kind of that top tier talent. He shot 44% from deep this year, and he had 11 games with at least 3 made threes. So a guy that put up a pretty good amount of volume of threes as well, and he's able to shoot that 44% clip, and he showed the ability, not just to knock down 1 or 2 and shoot 44%. 11 games with at least 3 made 3-pointers in 32 games this year. He's shown the ability that he can go off from deep in stretches as well. He also had 8 games with 20 or more points and 9 games with 5 assists. So he only averaged 23.3 minutes per game, as we touched on at the beginning. I think Calipari might have actually held him back a little bit. You could also argue maybe that's because of his defense or lack thereof at times. And, a pretty crowded backcourt there with Reed Shepherd and DJ Wagner. But, 8 games of 20 or more points and 9 games of 5 or assists or more, only averaging 23.3 minutes per game. Those are pretty impressive numbers. If he had a bigger sample size and if he went somewhere that wasn't Kentucky, I don't know, maybe like a Texas, I'm just trying to think of some other schools, maybe like a Florida or something like that, where, all right, you're definitely our best player, definitely our best guard. Go out there and go to work. I think he could have better numbers, and he probably would have been averaging, 32, 33 minutes per game and had more of a green light. I think Cal, when Dillingham played, he gave him the green light, but I think still he kind of held him back a little bit more. So I think he might even see kind of a little bit more production potentially in the NBA with a more increased role. I think this is my favorite part about his game, just his ability to get his shot off at any time, any place. Just an absolute fearless player. And we were talking about it too with kind of the size at 6'2", 160. When you're watching him on film, especially on the offensive end, maybe the defensive end is a different conversation. But when you watch Rob Dillingham on film, he doesn't look like a 6'2", 159 guy. Like, you don't think he's going to just be completely out-muscled, out athletic, whatever you want to say, on when he's going to the cup, when he's trying to get by defenders. Like, you don't notice that on film just because he's so explosive and just has that ability to accelerate by defenders, but also keep them on their heels and just pull up from three, pull up from the mid-range, score in the floater range as well. Just a innate ability to score the basketball at just any moment, and a real fearless guy. Like, he doesn't play like a 6'2" player in my eyes. Can score off the bounce, can score coming off screens for him. He really moves well without the ball too. There's several different kind of screen actions where he read it right, whether he flared, he curled, he popped. He did it really well coming off the ball as well. So I think that's another attractive thing, where I think why he did work out really well with Reed Shepherd, because both of those guys this year showed the ability to work on the ball and off the ball as well. But just when you're a legit scoring threat, anytime you cross half court, you're going to be a welcome asset in the NBA, because everyone is obviously not able to score like that. And like I said, the size concerns don't really show up on the offensive end just because he's so quick and so athletic, where Rob Dillingham doesn't allow defenders really to get a hand on him. I mean, he just keeps him honest. If you're up on him, he's able to accelerate by you and go to the rim. And I saw multiple times whether he's jump stopping going off 2 feet, challenging defenders at the rim to lay it up. He's got enough acceleration and also burst in his leaping ability where he is able to finish over these bigger, these taller, stronger defenders. He's going to be able to do that all the time at the NBA level. No, obviously different than the SEC, but he's got a really good floater game to go with that I think could be, a nice secondary tool where if he's not able to get all the way to the rim and finish over guys, that floater is a lethal move as well. And he can score from three. So just being able to score from all areas of the floor, not be kind of a one-trick pony, is just going to make him even more dangerous at the next level. And he shows an array of finishing moves around the hoop. Like I said, jump stopping, going up off 2 feet, reverse layups, using opposite hands on opposite sides, fooling guys with different kind of jumps. He can really know how to get to his spots and kind of work his magic. So go watch his highlights of the Texas A&M game at Texas A&M. Calipari over kind of like the last 10 minutes of the second half basically said, Rob, go to work. And he kept him in the game. He brought him back. He sent that game to overtime, I believe. He's just a super fun watch, like a guy that has kind of an infectious personality, and you can really be like, wow. But at times it kind of looks like street ball where it's like, all right, in the NBA, he might need to rein this in a little bit, but you just want a guy that go out there and get you some pure buckets. Rob Dillingham is your guy, and he can play make too. He's a much better passer than I remembered. As I said, watching Kentucky so much throughout the year, his scoring really is what pops off the page. But going back and watching his film, he can make some nice passes as well. And being a 6'2" guard, he's probably going to be playing the point guard most of the time. He's going to have to be able to distribute the ball. So another guy where if the Spurs prefer maybe Reed or Rob Dillingham over Reed Shepherd, I could see that being a fit for him there as well at number 4 with Wemby. I think that would be a really exciting bunch because with Dillingham's ability to, get by defenders and draw the help, Wemby's going to be there for lobs and also in the pick and pop game. I think that would be a really exciting duo. The major red flag, I don't think it's a major red flag, but I guess the weakness in his game is on the defensive end, obviously, being only 159 pounds. Just coming to mind last night from watching the Pacers and the Celtics, like Drew Holiday at the end of the game, his ability to get into Tyrese Halliburton's kind of grill and cause that key turnover in the half court with kind of his strength and his quickness and his speed, didn't let Halliburton get past him. I'm worried that Dillingham could be affected by that, especially at the beginning of the league. But as I said, still young, 19 years old. He's going to put on weight. And the more he puts on weight and learns how to play through this physicalness, I think it's only going to benefit him. But as I also was saying with him, his ability to always keep defenders honest, like you don't know if he's going to accelerate by you or if he's going to pull up from 35 feet on you. It's hard to get a hand on a guy like that when you don't really know what he's going to do. And when he's that talented offensively, I think that kind of also delegates that poor defensive, I guess, stance that is on him right now and the weight and being able to kind of contain that physicalness. There's times where you could see that he can be a committed defender. He's a pest if he wants to get up into you. He's got that high energy type of style where he can go out there and cause some steals, but definitely needs to lock in and focus more as a defender and certainly put on weight to really round out his entire ceiling. My comp for him is Terry Rozier. I was kind of going back and forth with some guys. I know I said Maxey. I know I said Bones Highland. I think Rozier, if you get a Terry Rozier here in like the top 5, the top 6 picks in this draft, I think any team's going to sign up for that. A guy that has, maybe a couple all-star games to his name by the end of his career, but a guy that makes over $100 million in the NBA, a 15, 16 point per game scorer over the course of his career, 3-4 assists, shoots the ball well from 3. And it's just like a fan favorite too. He might be my favorite watch in this draft, just in terms of his ability on the offensive side, but really like Dillingham's game. And I think he's going to really settle in well in terms of just being able to score the ball. Is he able to round out the rest of his game and be a more impactful all around player? Remains to be seen, but really excited about him. And I'm really intrigued to see where he goes. Cause I think if the fit around him is good, he could be a high productive player for a long time. If not, and he's forced to do things that he's not really that great at the moment, like try and be a lockdown defender, or try and just be a pure point guard, he might struggle a little bit. I think that Spurs team will be a really fun and exciting fit for him going forward. But that'll do it for this episode of another Kentucky guard here as part of our player profile series. Going to be ripping out a bunch more of these over the next month. But as always, please like, subscribe, and we will talk soon.